Hello and good morning, fellow poolsiders. Maximus here with another Clearpool update, and just like you see right here, posted about 1 hour ago, it states you can lend USDC stablecoin to Amber Group and earn the pool's current APR of 101%. States that early lenders take advantage of the high yields currently on the offer. So when we zoom in on this, as you can see on the far right side, it does say state the pool info has a total APR of 101.65%, for instance, and the pool size is 1.318764 million. So when I go to the actual Clearpool app for the Mainnet, you'll see Amber Group is listed here, of course, for USDC, and it actually has increased. At one point I actually saw it decrease. So again, you know, there's some factors that come into play. So for instance, this was at roughly like 70 something percent, and then this right here on the utilization was actually further down, but now I see that utilization is further up, and now the APR is up. So these are things, of course, to keep in mind in regards to if you're going to be one of those type of people who are going to be a lender providing liquidity to one of these borrowers, whether it's Amber Group or Volkswagen, and so on. So for instance, when we click on this, you know, the pool info is going to take a moment to load up and so on. But as you can see right now, the borrower rating is an A rating, and of course this is all provided to you from what? X margin, for instance. And on top of it, you can see the capacity is 116,989,242. That's quite a bit, and states that this indicates the estimated amount of borrowing feasible under the firm's existing credit assessments based on X margins methodology. Which, if you want more info, you can click right here. So if you watched that demo that Jacob and Rob did, you know, from the Clearpool team in regards to was it Volkswagen? Sorry, when Volkswagen was showing the demonstration of actual borrowing using the actual Mainnet, right? The app itself, Jacob actually shows and goes into a lot of detail about what you see, for instance, right here, and explains in detail about, you know, how a lot of the, I guess you could say, the utilization, how it works and so on, and how the percentage rates are affected in regards to that. And of course he goes on, you know, mention about things like in the event of a default, like how much time the borrower has to pay it back, and so on. I think they get like a max of 5 days, and then they basically, you know, the one that really stood out was like, you know, a solid 3 days to pay it back. I think the max was 5, but nonetheless, you know, they have basically every type of scenario in regards to like what you see right here, and how this will fluctuate depending on the utilization rate, right, pool size, and so on. So if you haven't seen that video, definitely take a look. I'm not saying my video, because my video is basically my take on what I saw in the demo, like, you know, what notes I took and so on. What you want to look at, of course, is the actual demo. So if you're looking for that, it's called Clearpool's with one of our borrowers, which is Volkswagen, and it shows all 3 of their pictures on there, for instance. So anyway, I just thought I'd point this out. You know, for me personally, I mean, I would have liked to have been able to do something like this, because this is huge. You know, even though it's not 100%, it's like 88.28%. It's still, you know, very appealing to be able to lend USDC stablecoin and earn an APR of 88.28%. You know, for people who are throwing, like, who have the money, throwing 10,000, 20,000. I mean, heck, you might, you know, own your own company or whatever. You might be throwing a lot more at it. You know, when you see some of these ratings, right? You know, some of them have like, you know, 2A ratings and so on. This amount on your stablecoin, I mean, you're not going to really see this for the most part anywhere else. If you do, it's probably on a DAO, and it's also a lot more higher risk. So I like the idea that they have, for instance, X margin to provide the credit assessments and so on. So again, you know, if you're not in the US like myself and so on, you can do this right here, where it says I confirm that I'm not a citizen or resident of the following countries. Like where I live in the United States of America. I mean, but some of these other countries make sense. Obviously, Belarus, Cuba, North Korea right here, Democratic Republic of the Congo, Iran, Iraq, Lebanon, Libya, you know, so on. I mean, those make sense. To me, it doesn't make sense to the US, but I don't think that's up to really Clearpool. I think it has to do with crypto regulation. I'll have to, you know, delve deeper into that and look into that myself. I hate that because, you know, me and a few guys don't live, live here in the US. I realize there's quite a few people who don't and are going to be taking advantage of this who don't live in those countries. But nonetheless, there it is for you guys. And what I was also going to state is this right here. You know, I asked them a few days ago, actually, the Clearpool team, I sent them a direct message, and then they recommend me just putting this out in tweets, that way the community can see it and get involved, which makes sense. So basically it's like this. So I'm moving on to this next segment of this video, because I feel as though, you know, it's important in regards to this, because this now affects us as retail investors. Okay, so what I asked the Clearpool group is like what you see right here, and before I mention it, I need to do a little bit of an explanation, background on what I mean. So for instance, at some point, you know, whether we would like it or not, let me get back to it. Okay, there we go. I don't really think it's going to be Folk Fang, Wintermute, Amber Group, and so on, because, I mean, obviously they're the first, but you never know. It could be somebody else in the future, a different borrower. But at some point, we have to be realistic, and there might be a borrower in the future who ends up defaulting, right, on what they borrowed in one of these liquidity pools, okay? It's just the way it is. So for instance, if they did default on it, of course, you know, I think they have a max of 5 days to pay it back. And then if they didn't, and it's a full default, it goes to auction. And I found out that as we as in retail investors can take advantage of that. So, because it's going to be going to auction, right? And so here is what I asked the Clearpool team. I said, if a retail investor were to get whitelisted by providing KYC info, which means know your customer, could they participate in the auction process? Or is it only available after ultimate beneficial owner, which is UBO, has verified the whitelisted investor that they can be selected to participate in the auction process? Then I stated, what I'm trying to say is, does a panel have to first whitelist the potential retail investor and then select them to be a UBO? Or is that not necessary to participate in the auction process? Then last, I stated, if retail investors were allowed to participate, is there a minimum amount that they would be required to bid on of the pool in order to participate in the auction? Because I didn't see this posted, and that's why I'm asking. So they did respond, which is awesome, because, you know, some projects they wouldn't respond because they'd be like, hey, we got a mainnet and we're too busy and so on, but they made time. And I really want to say shout out to the Clearpool team for getting back to me in regards to this. I realize you guys are busy and so on, but appreciate it. So they stated, thanks for your questions. Retail can participate in the auction if they provide KYC and confirmation that they are the UBO, aka ultimate beneficial owner. The minimum amount is the insurance amount, or to become the new highest bid. Bidders are bidding for the entire amount. So those two main things, you got to provide the KYC and they got to be the UBO, right? Or like it mentions here, become the new highest bid. So in reality, it's probably about 2 or 3 things. Okay, but the cool thing is this: we as retail investors can get involved in this. So you're probably wondering also if you may be lost. I don't know. Maybe you follow this. Maybe you're lost. I don't know. But to clear it up for you, no pun intended. Here's what I mean. So let's say a borrower, I don't know. Let's throw out an example. They defaulted on $1 million. They're trying to borrow $1 million, a cool $1 million in USDC, for instance, right? And we as retail investors, we want to take in part of that auction process. So it goes to auction, okay? And what's going to happen when it goes to auction is we are going to, of course, try to win the auction by becoming like the highest bidder and so on. But the cool thing is this, okay? The whole point of you getting involved in the auction is that you can take advantage of getting, whatever set amount it is that you're trying to get, or bid on, I should say, for way under than market value. So what I mean by that is this. So let's say hypothetically this happened today, okay? And the market value of Clearpool is currently down, right? Close to 20%. So the market value is 0.2135, okay? So let's say, hypothetically speaking, you win the auction for, I don't know, let's say 10 cents. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but let's say you did. That is very appealing to retail investors like ourselves, because now you are actually getting that set amount, whatever that is in the pool, right? For significantly less than what you see right here. So I was glad to see that we can participate in that, because I mean, let's face it, I mean, for myself, and other people, right, that are I don't know, let's say you're an American citizen. When you see this, it's like, yeah, there's ways to get around this, right? Do I recommend you do that? Of course not. I'm not going to recommend that on my channel, but I'm also being a realist. I realize some people are going to get around this, okay? Me personally, that's just not what I'm going to do. But, there is definitely ways around it. But at the same time, you realize this and you're like, dang, that's too bad, because I live in the United States, okay? Well, it'd be nice to be able to participate in that, for instance. It's just, more of an incentive, nonetheless. So, last but not least, yeah, that was the last thing I just want to mention to you guys in regards to that. Thought that was pretty cool that we were able to have the opportunity to participate in that. So, just a brief update in regards to the mainnet. I will be keeping my eye on a little bit more than just that, of course, but to see other borrowers come into the onboarding and so on, and of course to see if it affects price action and so on, especially when you see some of this utilization go up significantly higher, for instance, like where Amber Group is at. So there you go, guys, another Clearpool update. Like, comment, and subscribe if you're not currently. Hope you enjoyed today's video. And with that said, may y'all have a blessed day, and we'll see you all in the next one.